A stark new warning from a decorated retired U.S. Army general pins a jarring label on President-elect Trump's close ally, declaring in a New York Times opinion piece that, quote, Elon Musk is a national security risk. Lieutenant General Russell Honore writes, quote, Mr. Musk's relationship with China's leaders could prove a problem for America's national security. The question now is whether the incoming Trump administration will take this risk seriously, end quote. So let's get straight to the source tonight with the author himself. Lieutenant General Honore joins us now. Thank you for coming on. So, look, when you speak, people sit up, they listen. Your words hold sway. So when you look at Musk's business ventures and see all the financial roads leading back to China, or many of them, I should say, why are you so concerned Musk's relationship with China could risk U.S. national security?
Well, thank you for having me on as we pay tribute to President Carter, a farm boy like myself who's spent his entire adult life in public service. And I'm here tonight as a retired public servant, still interested in the security of our country. And in this case, 80% of U.S. rockets that are launched now are launched by Mr. Musk's company, SpaceX. At the same time, Mrs. Musk has close ties with the Chinese government. They loaned him $1.4 billion to build a Tesla plant. And in the Chinese law, they have a rule that anybody doing business in China is required to provide intelligence to the Chinese government, which is led by the Chinese Communist Party. That is the big concerns. That should be a concern to our government. And I'm surprised the U.S. government that's in office now hasn't done something sooner to publicly investigate this, or the Congress or the Senate. And I'm much disappointed that has not happened.
So Musk and Trump's transition team have not responded to CNN's request for a comment. We should note that Musk has a security clearance now, and there's no federal agency that has accused Musk of improperly sharing intelligence. And Musk himself has implied he paid off a reported $1.4 billion loan that you had mentioned from several Chinese government-controlled banks for Tesla back in 2021. So why do you think that's still a factor in how the Chinese government officials might leverage those financial ties?
Well, I'm not the only one. There's some pretty significant people that's in the government about to go into President-elect Trump's government, Victor Ramaswamy and Senator Marco Rubio has raised this question as early as May, that this is a serious concern, Musk's ties to the Chinese Communist Party and doing business there and his relationship, as well as in recent weeks, Steve Bannon, a very loud-spoken and influential person in the Make America Great Again movement, has spoken to his concerns about Musk's relationship to the Chinese. Musk also has relationship, he's quoted as communicating with President Putin in Russia. When we have government officials do that, those calls are recorded and synchronized with the Department of State and the national. He's a private citizen who also owns a social media network that can influence what senators get elected next. So he has a lot of power, but not political position. So there are people, I'm not the only one, and there are people of greater stature than I that's in the government that could and should be speaking about this, as well as great news media organizations like CNN has reported Musk's relationship with the president of China when he was recently elected and congratulating him. So he has a very strong relationship with two of our adversaries or competitors, and is in
really
living
quickly,
in.
Let me just ask you that Chinese law. It is true. There's this Chinese law that requires people who do business there to work with intelligence agencies in China if they ask. So is your concern more about what China might do than Musk?
Well, it's also, we have laws on transferring technologies to foreign countries. And much of the battery technology, much of it has been developed here, but being produced in China. There's also rules around passing U.S. technology related to SpaceX. And there's no control now, and this goes unchecked. The U.S. Air Force and the Department of Defense have expressed concern in investigating this, but this should have been done months ago. And now we're about to go into a government where Mr. Musk has a very influential position next to President-elect Trump, and that should be concern of all of us.
Yeah, we saw how that played out in his role and influence with the latest spending bill, for sure. Lieutenant General Russell Honore, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your opinion with us.